Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Let me tell y'all, I hope y'all had an amazing weekend because my weekend was a little crazy. Hence why I missed yesterday. Totally did not realize yesterday was Monday. I thought it was Sunday. But we're here, we're back. It's morning inspiration with friends. And yeah, hope everyone had an amazing 3-day weekend if that is your reality. Because I have realized over the years that is not everyone's reality. Everyone does not get a 3-day weekend like some of us do. But I hope that everyone still was able to. I know out here in Oklahoma, we had a lot of rain over the weekend. So it was extremely muddy, cloudy, and no barbecues. Shout out to Corey's Kitchen here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She invited me to get a barbecue plate. She does catering. She bakes. Corey is the truth. I'm gonna put the information down below. If you need a caterer, if you just want um, for your birthday, your weddings, the whole shebang. She does it all. Food is good. Try her out. But yeah, so today I want to talk about this topic here. This topic is one that I do speak on a lot because what I often find is that a lot of people, like, they have a lot of talents, a lot of skills that they've learned, but they allow all of that to overshadow what's naturally in them. And what I mean what's naturally in them is the gifts that God gave us. We all have something in us that is something that no one had to teach us, right? You probably have been doing it since you were a child or at a young age. And it's just something that you just can do. Like, I know people that they can just naturally build things, never went to carpentry school, didn't do any trades. It was just something that they naturally were able to. And yeah, over the years, they was able to get better at it because they're doing it more often. Maybe dad or grandpa might have showed them how to, do it better or a faster way, different strategies. And then they might have went to school and did it professionally and got like a certificate or something. That's a lot of people's journey. But there's a lot of people out here that it is something naturally in them and they're not tapping into it. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what we are forgetting about our God-given gifts. And I know years ago I met this young lady, amazing talent, and she was struggling, right? She was struggling to find a job, she was struggling to make money. And if y'all know me, I am always, good morning, Paula. Happy Tuesday to you. If you know me, I am always advocating for people to tap into their natural born gifts to, especially to generate like additional income. So this person did not have a job at all. So I'm like, let's go for what you're great at, what's naturally enjoyable for you, and what you're naturally good at. And this person gave me a lot of different reasons why they could not do it. And I can understand that because I think about myself and my journey as a speaker. The first time, the second time that I can recall speaking in public was at my sixth grade graduation. And while I was very excited to have the opportunity, I was one of the two salutatorians. But one of the things that I was very thankful for was that my teacher saw that in me, and she helped me because one of the reasons why I did not want to speak was because I had a stutter. Once in a while, you will still hear me stutter, but when I was younger, I was very insecure about it, so I really did not want to speak, and I carried that with me throughout the years. But the one thing I can remember is that in that speech, something happened, and I mean to the point where my mother was accused of writing my speech, and they accused my teachers of practicing more with me than with the other two speakers. And that just was not the reality, you know. And now when I reflect, that was a natural gift, right? And the other thing that I remember about that speech was that when I finished, like half the church, because it was in the church, half the church was crying, like crying tears. They just couldn't believe it. And you know, and you're in sixth grade, so how old are you? About like, I don't even remember how old I was. But in sixth grade, like you're young and you don't understand these things, right? You don't understand that your words have impact, your words have power. It's gonna move him and shift things around. You don't know that because you're a child. And so when I reflect back, you know, and again, my mom was accused, my teacher was accused, all these different things. That's power, right? That's a very powerful thing. So first thing I want us to realize is that although your gift is going to benefit you, your gift is not for you. It's for the world. And if you've been following me for a while, you may have heard me say that quite often. Your gift is for the world. It's not for you. You may benefit from it, right? You might get enjoyment from it. You might get money from it. However, God has given us this gift that no one is teaching you so that you can go out there and you can use it and give it to the world, right? He placed it so that you can serve, so that you can heal, so that you can impact other people's lives. And no matter if you don't understand, like I said, in the sixth grade, I didn't understand what impact, but I saw the impact. I remember that impact. I seen the atmosphere shift. Parents are crying. And my classmates might have been totally oblivious to it, but their parents got it. And so when we think about that, it's like, dag, if I can use this gift and it can impact and it can shift and it can, you know, serve or heal someone, like why wouldn't we want to tap into that? You know, why wouldn't we want to give that? And I understand you might be afraid of it, right? It's not something that you're like, especially if you can see the change that happens when you use it, right? That is going to truly hold some people back. And what I'm telling you, when you hold that back, someone is going to miss out what you have to offer, right? When you keep that as a secret, when you don't release those words. So I don't know if you ever heard me talk about Minister Shanae. Shanae is, ironically, we have this, my middle name is her first name. And Minister Shanae told me years ago, she was like, every time that you don't speak, every time that you don't open up your mouth, it's going to be blood on your hands, right? Because again, depending on what I'm supposed to speak about, it could be healing, right? It could stop someone from doing something crazy, insane. It could hurt others. And if I don't do the things that I do or speak up when I'm supposed to speak up, and that's also a very important thing, to use it when God tells you to use it, that can potentially be blood on my hands. And I was just like, wow. And that stuck with me for many years. I think we had that conversation back in 2016, maybe 2017. So this has been quite some time, almost 10 years, like 8 years, that mindset has been really hitting me because we just don't think about it that way. We just think about ourselves. And this is not the time nor the season for you to only focus on about yourself. Okay. So the second thing is that most of us are trying to think about our gift in a way of, well, I haven't mastered it, right? And so this is where we start seeing again natural born gifts and people feeling the need, the necessity to go and get a degree in it, right? To go get a certificate. Can I just tell you something? You are already called, you're already qualified to do this. Okay. Now, yes, if you want to play in society's world, you might have to go get something to validate that you have this gift. So, yesterday, like I mentioned earlier, Corey's Kitchen. This is a woman who's a part of Toaster Remote as well, and she had to, you know, she can cook, she can get down in there. And the one thing that was really great to see when I walked into her apartment was I was able to see like her health certificate. You know, she did the proper work to so that she can have that certificate, that license to show that she understands the proper, you know, she's not going to cross contaminate. And I understand those things, right? But when I spoke to her, I was like, "Did you go to culinary school?" And she was like, "No." Like she knew what she needed to do as far as to operate. She needed EIN, create the LLC, right? Those different things. But as far as the gift itself, she wasn't going to the culinary school. She didn't do all that. She took this and she just continued to master it, trying new recipes, trying them again, trying trial and ever. I mean, trial and error. And so it was just like, that was something that she just was like, I just kept doing it, although I know I wasn't perfect at it. Although that the world says that I wasn't qualified, or that, I need all these degrees, she didn't think about any of that, right? She just started to go out there. And I think a lot of us, when we tend to do is that we try to perfect it. And we waste time because we want to go into these other avenues. That's where I was going with that. So some people do go and say, you know what, in order for me to be a motivational speaker, I need to go get a degree in communications. I need to take all these public speaking classes. They create all of these different narratives because I have to be perfect at this. And it's like, well, God already gave it to you. You already seen the impact, especially if you already seen the impact. Like, I think we need to pay attention to that. If you have already used this gift and you have seen some form of outcome of it, you already know that it's purposeful, right? You may not have been paid for it, right? And don't confuse because you've been paid for it to mean that you've mastered it, right? Because there's a lot of people who are getting paid to do things and they haven't mastered anything, right? I always think about the story about that Les Brown told many years ago, how he went to a seminar and the speaker was boring, and he was like, people was falling asleep. Even the man next to him was falling asleep. And come to find out that the man next to him was the speaker's like brother-in-law or something. And this man was paid many thousands of dollars to speak and had everyone in there knocked out. Okay. And if you can always find that story, because Les Brown tells that story all the time. So just because a person is paid to do something doesn't mean that they're perfect at it, doesn't mean that they're powerful at it, and doesn't mean that it is something that is a God-given talent. But if you know that you have been using this God-given talent and it's making an impact, it's healing people, you're serving them, you're seeing the outcomes, and on the cherry on top is that you've been paid for it, then you already know that you can just keep going out there and doing it. Now you might need some strategies so that you can get like that's where I'm working on right now for my speaking business. Working to cultivate. I'm in a new region, don't really know how things are, don't know the organizations that are out here, but I'm not waiting and saying, okay, well, let me get perfect at making sure that I can do this properly in Oklahoma. No, I already know what the gifts are. I have to be obedient. I have to keep on getting up and doing what I need to do, especially the way God is telling you to do it. Your obedience is going to activate the gift. And that's something that I want you to remember. Your obedience is going to activate the gift, not this level of perfection. However, you define perfection. Okay. So I don't want you to miss your moment. I don't want you to miss your blessings, because I truly believe that when we are out here using our gifts, that there's some kind of blessings attached to it. And again, it's not always going to be finances. Right. And I think that's something we might talk about that tomorrow, right? All blessings are not going to be financial. Some blessings going to be another day added to your life. God, you don't even know that God has added 10 more years to your life because you are obedient, or someone is going to just bless you with a new car, right? Because you're obedient. Like, these are things that are actually happening, and we just have to remember that, right? So the last thing is that the more that you use it, the more that your gift is going to grow, right? The more that you use it, the more that your gift is going to grow. And so, again, it's not growing because you went to school. It's not growing because you got a certificate. It's growing because you're using it, because you're being extremely intentional. And I want you to remember that. So if you guys remember, in order for Morning Inspiration with Friends to be launched, I started back with doing a 21-day self-reflective live, right? I challenged myself for 21 days to get back on here and to go live every single day. And for those 21 days, I went live Saturday and Sunday as well. We shift, and after that, and we shifted to a Monday to Friday framework. But I had to get back into using it, right? I had to get back into doing it every single day and not worrying about anything, right? There's been some days my hair wasn't that great. If I sweat out my silk press, I need my nails done. I can't worry about that. And these are things that So many people are actually using, that's actually a good bonus, and I'll get to that part. But I want you to keep using it because it's like a muscle, right? If you keep going to the gym and you keep, um, using 5 pounds weights. So you just like, you're working like this, you're working like this, you're working like this. Eventually, that first day, you're not going to see any results. You might feel it, but then in like 2 weeks, you might start seeing it. So your gift, the more that you use it, is going to build, it's going to develop. You're going to now actually see like that, like this is actually, working for me because I'm using it. And the more that you use it, this is how we get to seeing how it has impact in people's lives, right? Because I will tell you this, sometimes you're never going to see how this gift is going to impact people's lives, right? I cannot tell you that every time that I spoke, every person in that room has reached out to me and given me a follow up to tell me how their message has changed their lives. I've mentored people, and those people might not have taken actions onto things until a couple of years later. Same thing with coaching. So I just have to just keep using it, right? And I have to just know that the more that I'm using, I'm just building and I'm impacting and I'm doing the work that God is telling me to do. And I don't want you to get into this stuck framework, right? Because the more that you're afraid to use it, it means that you're not going to build it, you're not going to develop it, and you're going to always feel like you're starting over, right? And I personally had to get out that mindset when I would go to like these laps. And, if you go on especially on my Facebook timeline, Facebook has seen more of the lives over the years. YouTube, I had the channel, but wasn't really cultivating it. But if you go on my Facebook channel, you would see like 2015, I was hitting them. 2016 came, I was hitting them until the miscarriage. And then I went into I felt stuck. And that's when you start feeling like, oh my gosh, I have to start all over, right? That's when you start listening to people telling you, well, what you did 5 years ago don't matter now. No, it does still matter, right? It's still a part of your resume. I don't care if you have a gap. This is a message for anyone in the workspace, because people have this mindset in telling others, well, you haven't done something in a couple of years, then it's not you're still not good at it. When you're not good at it, and you got to start from the bottom. No, I'm starting from where I left off, right? And I'm just going to build from that. Same thing in the workplace. And I used to tell my students, especially those that had to take time away from working to take care of a family, take care of a sick loved one. Your gifts and your skills and your talents are still there. Now you just got to tighten them up, and now you just got to get back into using it, right? Just like a vehicle. If you don't use that car, the battery is dead. This is going to rust up. Once you start cleaning that up, it doesn't start back to 0 miles. It's going to continue from that point, and now it's going to move forward. It's just a shift in the mindset, right? And that's what I want us to get into it, shifting the mindset. Okay, so again, your gift isn't for you, it's for everyone else, it's for the world, because that's why God gave it to you. You don't need to be perfect in order for you to be powerful. And then the last thing is that the more that you use it is the more that your gift is going to grow. So as always, I like to give you some type of reflective question, because I want us to get into this part of every time we leave these morning lives, that you're going somewhere and you're sitting in a quiet space, even for just a few minutes, and you go and talk to God about this. So I want to ask you, what gift has God placed in you, not me, but you can write this down so that it's you. But what gift has God placed in you that you've been hiding, delaying, or underestimating? And what's one step that you can take to get started to using it today? And that could be for any gift: dancing, for writing, baking, cooking, being a connector. Like, we all have different gifts. And I always say, think about the one thing that people always call you for. What do people always call you for if you never know? If you don't have a clue what your gift is, what do people know always call you for? And I guarantee you that's where you're going to find your missing link, right? Or what gift did you have and that you've been using since you was a child that just comes to you so natural? And that's the ones that I want you to focus on, not the ones that you had to go to school for and that you had to learn, or when you went to work and they had to teach you. What is the one thing that it was just like, it just came naturally? That is what you're supposed to be doing. That is what you should be tapping into, because that's going to bring you the fulfillment that you need. And I know, like for me, although I was told for a long time that I was going to be a teacher, or Tanisha, you should be a teacher, you should teach, I could not tap into it. It was just, I mean, and this is the crazy part, was that as a child, I would go home and collect all my teddy bears, my dolls, and I would teach them what my teacher taught me, right? I would teach my dolls and my teddy bears what my teachers taught me. But for some reason, I still could not see the teacher, right? Because I was allowing other factors that I won't name, but I was allowing things to stop me from seeing that as a vision, of seeing that was something that I was doing at first and second grade. Okay. This is not something that I just went to school or I just magically learned. No, I've been doing this. I just didn't want to do it professionally as a career. And I'm honest about that one. I didn't. I started teaching because I had to. And I just happened to realize that I loved it because I found my target audience, right? And not everyone is meant to teach children. The adults need teachers too. And that's where I figured out that was why I didn't see the connection. And I just had to fall into it and lean and trust that God was going to put me in the right space. So, back here tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern. Again, if you need to connect with me, go to my link tree, check out my books, check out my community, my courses, my blogs. Share this message, right? Share it with someone, share it on your timeline. Someone out there is letting their gift go to waste. And this is the time in the season, I'm telling y'all, we all need to be tapping into our talents. We need to be tapping into our talents. We need to be tapping into our talents. I know this is the reason why God is putting this message on my heart. Everyone needs to be tapping into something right now. And the easiest way to do that is to tap into what is naturally there for you. Don't be afraid of it. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. It's meant for you. And you are the best person. You are the most qualified person to do it. So do it, right? Do it and see it through 100%. That's the one thing I'm going to ask you. See it through. So, whatever that is that you're going to, when you reflect, so this question here, what's the one step that you can take to start using it today? I really want you to think about that. And it might not be going live, it can be putting together a script, right? So, like, say if you're a speaker, I don't want you to feel like, oh, she wants me to go get a camera and press play. No, it could be literally researching a topic that you can do a video on, or putting together a script so that you can create a video. There's so many different ways to look at this. Okay. So I don't want you just to get flustered and be like, oh my gosh, she's asking me to do too much, right? Look at the big goal and then look at what's one step that you can do towards that big goal. Okay. So I am your girl Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. Meet me back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. And I hope you have an amazing day today on purpose with purpose. Have a good one. See you soon.